Right, we want to buckle down to a discussion with the panelists already here in studio with us. Of course, we know about the 9-point agenda, which is an upshot of a fundamental, the handshake, which will now be implemented by a 14-member team unveiled last week, which includes how to deal with ethnic antagonism, lack of national ethos, inclusivity, strengthening devolution, ending divisive elections, ensuring safety and security of Kenyans, ending corruption, and ensuring a shared prosperity. Raila Odinga has maintained that his handshake with President Uhuru Kenyatta was never about the politics of 2022, saying it was too significant an event to be reduced to a struggle for position, promises, and the ambitions of individuals. This country has had elections before. We had presidents, prime ministers, and even chief secretaries before. There is nothing special about 2022 elections, refrained Raila Odinga. But abiding questions remain, of course, and lingers on the minds of many Kenyans. One, why is the handshake not tempering but ratcheting up the 2022 decibels? Why has Uhuru not publicly reiterated support for Ruto's 2022 bid? Was Raila's visit to Moi in Kabarak just a checkup call, or there is more than meets the eye? And this is the question that we're asking you today. Do you think Uhuru Ruto's bromance is threatened by the fundamental handshake? Do you think Uhuru Ruto's bromance is threatened by the fundamental handshake? Right? You can hit us on Twitter. AM Live NTV is a Twitter handle. AM Live NTV is our profile name on Facebook, and 20505 is our SMS portal. But before we drill deeper on this particular topic, of course, we want to hear from our panelists looking at today's headlines. It's all about NYS, and of course, that was our top story as well. So are we always waiting for the other shoe to fall? The question is, who or what did she know? That is the Cabinet Secretary, Sicily Kariuki. When did she know it, and what did she do about it? On the front page of the Daily Nation. Allow me to introduce to you this morning Boni Khalwale, who is the Deputy Leader of Ford Kenya. Also, we do have with that Senator of Kericho, Aaron Cheriot. We have with us as well Jacob Medio, who is the former Deputy Whip of the National Assembly, the 11th National Assembly. And also we have with us Senator Kimani Matangi, who is the Senator of Kiambu. Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. All right, looking at the headline is another story about NYS, and I wonder what will be your input on this regarding fighting corruption in this country. Let's begin with you, Aaron Cheriot.
Wow. Well, let me say first, good morning.
Good morning to you.
You, Debarl, and to our viewers.
And welcome back. It's been a while.
It's been a while, but it's always good to be here and to engage our minds together with Kenyans on some of the thoughts. This headline is it's extremely difficult to take first as a leader and also secondly as a Kenyan, because NYS is extremely dear to my heart as a youthful leader, because I know the potential and what the young people of this country.
I'm sorry, allow me to butt in a bit, because I cannot hear you clearly. Is your mic on? I can't see if it's on. You may just allow me to walk over there. Yes, it's fallen.
I don't even have it.
Oh, you don't even have it. Let me just come and help you through,
Okay.
please. You can continue.
Okay.
Yes, let me just, okay.
Sorry, I put it opposite. So my point is, this is extremely difficult to take for anybody who's passionate about youth affairs and the potential that the young people of this country stand to lose when we finally bury NYS as it appears to be, because whatever little was left of this institution seems to have been washed away now by this fresh bound of allegations that are before us this morning. I've read the newspapers since Sunday, and since Sunday when this story first broke, where there's this allegation that there are fictitious companies that were paid and there was an inflation of the value of goods that was applied. However, Debarl, allow me also to just request of you as a media house that sometimes when you give us a story as heavy as this, for us to be able to fully benefit and not just it be another headline where we discuss corruption the way we discuss, can you investigative reporters go a little deeper? And for example, in today's paper, what I would have expected is a list of the companies and the goods that they are purported to have supplied. For example, when they say there's inflation on the price of goods, they tell us that somebody supplied mugs like this to NYS and was paid, say, 500 shillings, while everybody knows that a mug like this cannot cost more than 100 shillings. That will give us more detail, because the minute we begin to have these companies, the next thing that Kenyans will do, because Kenyans have become even more techno-savvy, they will log on to state attorney's office and be able to check who are the owners of these companies, you know, and we begin to indulge deeper. However, because if we only leave it at the point that is, because I have read the story that is here in today's paper this morning, and there's nothing more deeper other than the two claims that, one, there was an inflation of bills, and two, the total amount of that inflation is 9 billion shillings, and nothing beyond that. It puts us in a difficult situation. There are questions that are still not clear in my mind. When I read, for example, NYS, this Director General, I forget his name, he's Dubai.
Yeah.
His history appears to have been the history of a checkered career civil servant. I'm told he was brought back to NYS from retirement when we had those problems we had in 2016. Could a fellow who served for all those years at NYS without a tint, without any dent, without any corruption, come back from retirement to come and oversee this kind of looting? You know, there are certain questions that you as media and even the investigative agencies, because, you know, sometimes when we wait on ESCC, we know what has become of it. We no longer get proper details of exactly what has gone on. Therefore, in a country when things go that way, we depend on our media to rise up to the occasion and do the donkey work for us, so that for those of us who are in positions where we can speak about it and demand answers, we can do it with so much vigor. If I was to, say, go to Parliament this afternoon, because as a Senate we are in session, and say that I want to demand answers, I have very little information that I can get. Of course, nothing stops me from questioning based on whatever has come out. But as it appears at the moment, it's still hazy, but all the same extremely troublesome and difficult to take.
So you think this is a scanty information that we've given out so far?
It's quite scanty, but still very much disturbing.
Very much disturbing.
Yeah.
Right, let's say from Boni Halwale.
My compliments to the Nation Media Group for the good work they have done. I want to beg to differ with my brother Cheruyot. What the nation has done is enough. Don't forget, you are a parliamentarian. In fact, the nation should be asking you, parliamentarians, using the respective committees or the general oversight work of Parliament, what you have done, what you have been doing with the funds of NYS. I say this, and thanks to the presence of Senator Matangi here. In the last Senate, him and I and Mutula Kilonzo Jr., and I think a few others, we opposed the budget, giving budget to NYS for projects that were constitutionally under the mandate of county governments. But we were defeated, but we made a point. And soon after, the Anne Waiguru scandal came up, and I am not surprised that this thing has now moved from what it was, whereby the companies that were at play at that time were companies from outside that were doing unfair business with NYS. It has now become a situation whereby insiders within NYS are the ones now who have formed companies that have been used to siphon the 9 billion shillings. Two people to blame. The first person is members of parliament. Members of parliament went slow on the first scandal of NYS because many of them also were involved in that scandal. I'm therefore not surprised that in the second one, you guys are quiet. I hope that we are not again going to get another catalogue of companies owned by members of parliament who have been involved. The second one is, when you say government, you even don't know what it means in a situation like this, yeah? Because when we allowed, for example, with due respect, the governor of Kirinyaga to move on and then vie and become a governor in the government of Kenya, then we send a very clear message to the current PS, CS Sicily Kariuki, to the current Principal Secretary Mbogo, Lilian Mbogo, and of course, Mr. Richard Dumbai, the NYS Director General. We told them that when you do these things, it is just talk, nothing will happen to you. So they have moved from stealing 791 million to stealing 9 billion shillings. Have you heard what the Principal Secretary has said? She's saying, no, the money at hand is just a mere 900 million, which is being investigated. It is not 7 billion shillings. She's so used to big theft that when she sees 900 million, it is just a mere 900 million. The buck stops at the doorstep of the president, President Uhuru. Why are you still having these three people in office? Kekoya, I pass it over to you.
You become the moderator. It beats mind. You know, when we are even talking about 9 billion shillings, it's like some chump change. 9 billion, even 900 million is still a billion shillings. How I wish we could have capital punishment for wanton theft. You know, in this country, I think, Debarl, last week I said here that what we needed is for the government to put pressure on EACC to jail 1 or 2 governors. Then people will know there is a big brother in committee. But as long as we are talking about money that is so big, it's not even easy to comprehend how much money we are talking. Because I disagree with my good senator when he says the media is not giving enough information. It's not the responsibility of the media. It is what is the work of parliament? What is the work of parliament? The media is very far from it. The media would just report what parliamentarians have done. Or if they do wish to investigate, they can do that. But I think the primary role of parliament is to protect public good. And I think we can do it. Mm-hmm. The primary role of government, when a president takes oath and holds the Bible, what are you taking the oath to do? Saying, I am going to protect what is given to us by God, whatever little. But we are not doing that, and I don't even think that we are willing to do it, because you know, when we criticize the media for doing good work, then we are not helping ourselves. So we want our parliamentarians, especially Honorable Wamatangi and Honorable Cheriot here. I said last week that public accounts committees, both National Assembly and Senate, How come they are not convicting anymore? Even suggesting. Yeah, I mean, do something. Parliament must do something. Let me just tell you, Debarl, the blame is squarely on Parliament.
Squarely on Parliament. Let's hear from Matangi. Before we come to you, Aaron Cheruiyot, let's just give a handy opportunity also for Matangi. Good morning.
Thank you, Debarl, and good morning. Let me wish our viewers good morning. And also, two things. First, I want to also take the opportunity to send my very sincere condolences to all the victims of the Salai tragedy. You know, because when that happened, Debarl, we've not met since then. I think this is our first meeting. And, you know, it's disheartening once you see that there's, in one of the reports, that there's a primary school that could not open yesterday because most of the students in one class, most of the pupils in one class had died in the tragedy. Of the more than 40 dead, actually 13 are confirmed to be school children, and you know, it's very sad for this country, and you know, it's important for us to also have a word on this, even as we go to the NYS issue, Debarl, because you know the casualness with which you find certain issues, and especially matters of great potential danger. Like, for example, you know, we have a regulatory authority within the water ministry who are supposed to be looking at, to begin with, even the standards of those dams and how many, you know, even the process of construction and periodical inspections. So you ask yourself, who slept on the job? And since all those people are dead and being buried, then who is taking the blame? You know, that's the sad thing. Because what will happen eventually is you're going to find all those people are going to be put 6 feet under. Then this whole story will be forgotten. There are still probably another 50, 60 dams of equal potential danger which are still filling with the ongoing rains. And you've not had a serious statement from especially, and I want to take this opportunity to challenge especially the regulatory authority and also the Ministry of Water, so that they have to come out and make sure that there is a firm order and instruction that it is not something to be taken casually. We've seen it happening. So, and the rains are continuing. Remember, Debarl, how many people died sometimes during the mudslides that we had sometimes in Moranga, even in Kiambu, and many other places. But you still don't hear strict policy. And so I wanted, as I send my condolences to the families affected in Nakuru, in Solai specifically, to air my views. And secondly, Debarl, let me also take the opportunity to wish our very good friend and panelist here, Otiende Amolo, a quick recovery. And because Otiende Amolo is a great man, he's a good man, he's a big mind. He's one of the few leaders who have great potential. And every time when I'm on the panel with him, I have to confess I enjoy myself, because it's good when you know that you're engaging somebody who's got breadth of mind and also depth of soul and vision. And so I want to take the opportunity to wish him a very quick recovery. I saw yesterday in the press, he said that now he's well since that incident. I was hoping, Debarl, actually as I came in the morning, I only stopped short of calling you. I was hoping that you'd have arranged for somebody to be probably where he is. I don't know whether he's been released from the hospital. I was hoping you'd have arranged with one of your media people there to carry him, to take him live in the morning when we are on this panel, and he could participate. No. When he's there.
I think he needs his time to recuperate. Yes, we tried reaching him.
Or even to say hello to us, for that matter, or to Kenyans, as one of our panelists. Anyway, my point is to wish him a quick recovery.
Thank you.
Now, on this issue of the NYS, let me say first that I take the view and the opinion, as my colleagues have said, that we need to, I as a member of the Public Accounts Committee and as a member of Parliament, and I hear my colleagues here, Jacob Midio and Boni Halwale, they are still members of Parliament, by the way. I mean, you know, once an MP, always an MP. And it's only that you're not in the House now, because there's no way Jacoy will tell you that he's not going to be vying next time.
But they're still enjoying the pension.
And anyway, they're still pensionable. But,
Yes.
but the point is, that they are just in a small break. You expect that they're going to be coming back. As a member of parliament, I take the challenge, and in taking the challenge, what I would want to say first is, because I'm a member of the Public Accounts Committee in the Senate, I would want to take the view that I would want to say the things I say and apply my mind to it once I've got the full information. And Debarl, you've seen how we prosecute these matters when they come to us with full information. This is a matter that I really would want to get all the full information, and we'll go down to the wire to ensure that if there is anybody who is involved and continued with this trend, you know what? One of the big problems we have in several government departments, and I want to say this clearly because the Cabinet Secretary, Sicily Kariuki, in my view, and from what I know of her, she's had a well, defined career. She's not been involved in scandals at all, and I believe, in my mind, even up to now, that she's not involved unless proved otherwise. But I'll tell you one thing, and I'll tell Kenyans this morning. You know, Debarl, corruption is so entrenched and ingrained in so many departments of government that uprooting that corruption is going to take next to a miracle. And you know, if you remember, when we were young boys, we would be sent by our fathers to go and there's some grass we used to dig from down under called couch grass. I don't know whether it used to grow in your area, because I hear Kalwale saying that you're from the same area. Couch grass, you have to dig 6 feet down to get it. That's how deeply entrenched some corruption is in our system, such that you find that even after all the things that happened during the NYS scandal, that you would have people there within the system itself. And it doesn't have to be big players. You find down from clerks to procurement officers, it's a whole chain and cartel. And I'm not saying specifically in the NYS, but in several government departments. And that's why you find that it takes, and it will take a lot of determination to fight corruption. So let's wait for this. Let's see the details. Right now, I want to treat it as a matter that is just upcoming. We have no details. I have no details. So I don't want to placate anybody. But when it comes out, we'll deal with it.
All right, but we had a very comprehensive coverage of this yesterday in the Daily Nation. We shall look at that. That they were gaming the system. Some of the officials, the procurement officers, right, from the store managers, procurement officers, from finance officers, they were using the IFMIS to try and put in, or maybe dummy companies, the shadow companies, right? And this is a very well choreographed, a theft within the ministry itself, with corrupt officials.
Debarl, because
and
you say it's
we've
coming
had
to
also the
Parliament.
Director General saying that he has no sodding idea on how IFMIS really works. So he doesn't really know anything to do with IFMIS. So
it's coming to Parliament, Debarl. Once it comes to Parliament, we'll be on it. I've read
NYS
here.
is not the first time it's been on Parliament before. So we wonder what will be diametrically different.
It was dealt with by different people. And now it will find the current Parliament. One thing I can assure you, Debarl, and I speak for myself, I don't speak for other people. I speak for myself. That my record is clean. You have seen. Even yesterday, I think it was here in the press, we were dealing with a very big issue there on the 3.2 billion. My mind is normally very clear. Once the details are on the table, once we have the facts, we have to pursue them right to the end and ensure if there is innocence, we will declare innocence. If there is guilt, we must proclaim guilt. That is the way to go.
All right. Live in Holding Court with Boni Halole, who is the Deputy Leader of Ford Kenya. We have with us as well Aaron Chirot, the Senator of Kericho. We have Jacob Midio, who is a former Deputy Whip of the National Assembly, that is the 11th National Assembly, and Senator Kimani Omatangi, who is a Senator of Kiambu. We were waiting for Omboko Milema to join us this morning. He had promised to, and he's not picking up his call. Neither is also really also text to just apologize. Sometimes you legislators, you make us wonder. Huh? Yeah, we have a pact. You say you'll appear, then we call you in the morning. Your number seems to be busy, and then you're not even sending an apology. What sort of leadership is this?
A legislator is a busy person.
He's a busy person. This is sort of a business. I expect you to keep your word if you promise to, isn't it?
It's true.
Yeah, or apologize and say you can't make it, so that
Because
at least we wonder.
Yeah,
and this is not the first time. This is the second time that he's doing this.
Oh.
Anyway, let's move on. Wherever he is, we wish him well. Bone Halwale, we promised to circle back with you on this issue of NYS, then move to other issues this morning.
I would like to appeal to Senator Omatangi and Senator Kariuki. Please don't look the other side, because if you do, as it's becoming apparent from what you're telling the public this morning, that you are waiting for the matter to come to Parliament. I mean, the people who perpetrated this particular crime are not going to grow its legs so that it walks to Parliament. It has to be brought to Parliament, and the people to bring it to Parliament, it's you. So when you say we are waiting for it to come to Parliament, who is going to bring it? Let me tell you. Go back to Article 35 of the Constitution of Kenya that tells you that every citizen has a right of access to information in the custody of the state or a state organ. Now, thanks to the good work by the ESCC, the Directorate of Criminal Investigation and the National Intelligence Service, they have already concluded this work, and the nation has told the country as much. So you should, this morning, proceed and collect all the information that is contained in the audit that was done by ESCC, which discovered that we had flaws after the stolen 791 million of 2015, whereby suppliers were preferred, people who are the highest bidders were being given tenders, and conflict of interest was at play, i.e. personnel within NYS and within the ministry were actually doing tendering. And this report further found that we had abuse of IFMIS. Use this information, Wamatangi and Kariuki, to then not waste time the way Wandai is doing. The chairman of public accounts in today's paper is saying he wants to call so and so. The time of calling for them is when you were lacking information. You already have it. So we need to hear you proceed on a motion of censure so that Sicily Kariuki, Richard Dumbai, and Lillian Mbogo can not only go home, but also in that censure, you'll be able to make a resolution as Parliament that the other characters who are tabulated by the Nation newspaper, was it yesterday or the day before?
Yesterday and the day before.
And the day before. They can also take responsibility. So otherwise, if you don't do this, what you're doing smacks of cover-up. Don't do it. Do your work. And it works. Well, once upon a time, Jacoy and I, remember that day when we were moving the motion on Kimunya?
Yes.
You were to second me until Ababu came in and so on and so forth. Parliament rises to the common sense. If you move on a motion of censure now, when this matter is hot like this, no single MP will have the courage to vote against it. But if you wait for it to cool down, MPs will either run out of the House or they will dare to oppose it. The time to do it is now. If you guys wanted to remove Sicily because of the CEO of Kenyatta National Hospital, what is greater? The loss of 7 billion shillings or the CEO being removed on grounds which we all agreed, most Kenyans agreed that she needed to be removed? Yes.
Aaron Cheriot, I think,
Just in case Boni Halwale, of course, there are things that we can do, but you must remember Kimani Wamatangi and I are in the Senate, and these are matters that are predominantly in the armpit of the National Assembly, up to and including censure. However, nothing stops us from doing at least part of what you've said.
But there has been that debate, of course, in the National Assembly with the Senate that over issues of committee probing, and the National Assembly has been taking special umbrage that you over
the people who used to perpetuate those debates is none other than your friend here, Jacoyo Mediwa.
Oh, really?
When he was at the National Assembly, he will tell you the kind of things they used to say about Senate, that you are idle, we are eating into.
But even with the current,
excuse me,
that is not.
But even with the current legislators, we've seen this has come to the fore as well. When Wamatangi were probing the transport committee, the transport sector as well.
It is an unending debate that we shall not come to an end anytime soon. So what we need to do is, when there are issues like this, nothing stops us from taking it up. We can have those debates in the media and elsewhere. But we can still do our work
Excuse
anyway.
me, Cheriot.
Yes.
You know that we are guided by the Constitution.
Yes.
The Constitution only limits Senate on censure when it comes to impeachment of the president. Otherwise, it is on impeachment of the president where the Constitution tells you that that motion should start from the National Assembly. But hii maneno ingine, you just tell us what it is that you guys are covering. Why don't you work?
But
I am told now you're going to get... anyway, let me not go there.
No, tell us.
I knew.
You told you...
that was
No, just a moment. He has something for us. Just let it out.
No, I have a lot of friends.
You can never trust. Are you sure you want to trust Boni Halwale? No. Anyway, that was not my major point. What I wanted to speak and address my man to was what appeared to be the comments that I had earlier made, which did not sit down well with Jacoyo and Boni, where they felt that I was demanding too much from the media, as opposed to what we as a legislature can do. We will do our part. That I can give you my commitment. However, we gave a complete subsection of our Constitution, 34, to the media, because we understood that there will be times like this, and in any proper functioning democracy world over, the media occupies a prideful place, and that's why they continue to be referred as the fourth estate, that is completely detached from us, either the executive, the legislature, or the judiciary. Because when they do their work and they do it extremely diligently, then it makes our work easy. I was just being a good student of history. Debarl, haven't we been here before where we've had a big splashing headline say huge colossal amounts of money have been lost, and therefore it's a story for 2 or 3 days, it comes to parliament, we go through it. I'm just being a pragmatist this morning. I know EACC, in my humble opinion, is dead. DPP is toothless. All these stories we continue to hear about what is being looted in county governments. If we want to pursue through the lines that we have always used previously, then we'll end up at the same place where you have a list like what was presented in Parliament. I have always spoken about this, Jacoyo, in Parliament, when the President tabled the name of 175. To date, not a single one of them is in jail. And in that particular list, there are people who ended up suffering, not because of anything that they've done, but because as a country, we are used to playing games with the war on corruption. If we want to be serious for once, let us get our facts and case so watertight, such that it will be extremely difficult for anyone to wiggle their way out. We've just alluded to what happened to Peter Mangiti. There was a hue and cry listed on the media that he was a key perpetrator in what happened, taken to court. He's been freed. He's now a free man walking on the streets. Who do we blame? Do we blame the media? Do we blame judiciary? It's because we continue to pay lip service to the fight on corruption. It is not just enough, to put a splashy headline and say X amount of money has been lost. We've got to be serious. This is a big problem. The difference between countries that have moved far way beyond Kenya in the world over is because of this trouble of corruption.
Right.
And therefore, anybody, as a legislature, the way you are demanding from me, just let me finish. The way you are demanding of me as a legislator, that I should do my work extremely diligently, I'm also demanding of you as a media house that it is not just enough. Where are the star journalists of our country? You remember that lady, I think she was called Dafin Kwarana, that journalist in Malta. It's unfortunate that eventually she lost her life. But the kind of groundbreaking research they used to do, that is a kind of diligence we need to see in the Kenyan media, where you just don't splash this kind of information.
What do you mean you don't just splash? Have you taken your time to actually read the gritty details of these stories from Sunday? Yeah, and you find them wanting.
You know, listen. I wish you wouldn't listen with the ear of wanting to defend, but with an ear of wanting to engage and say, what is it that we can do better?
What is it we can do better?
I have already told you in my opening remarks.
Thank you. But I want to hark you back even to 1968, and I think this also, we can see, this was the Daily Nation then, right? Government pledged to crush corruption. This was 1968.
That was 30 years before I was born.
Yeah, 1968, right? But we're still on the same beat until today with issues of corruption. The president last week saying, oh, we'll fight this particular corruption. So what actually is happening as far as we are playing our role? We are showing what the government has pledged to fight corruption. You know, but are we having any good workable plans as far as fighting corruption? Instead of coming with broadside statements from State House, you know, and from podiums in the country, we want to see action on the ground. Or even throwing up your hands and saying, what do you expect me to do?
You have clogged your mind to this issue, Debarl. There's something I'm saying that Boni Halwale and Jakoyo have refused to listen. I have said in simple English that we can do better. Simple. Whether it is us as legislature, you have criticized us and said there are things we need to improve.
No, my good
and I have accepted and said when it comes before, we'll do better.
No. It is mind-numbing when we as panelists here, we've been sitting here talking about corruption. NYS is not the first time we've talked about corruption. Nothing has happened. We've talked about corruption, Anglo-leasing in this country. Just 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, we had also that the files cannot be traced and regarding to the Anglo-leasing scandal, right? 2 weeks ago, or just, yes, 2 weeks ago, we hear again the the NYS scandal, Principal Secretary Mangiti's case, he's been acquitted because there's a sloppy job, has been done by the police, so there's no credible evidence. Question we're asking, when we talk about Eurobond, Goldenberg, Anglo-leasing, now we also know about the scam with this city scans, from the Ministry of Health as well, is another scandal. We are still waiting for the other shoe to drop. Just the other day we were talking about also the mobile clinics as well. Nothing has come to the fore. We were castigating that particular auditor, not really the auditor, but the auditor that I can't remember his name, that actually was demoted and taken to the back offices of some building in this country, where we don't know where he is right now. But still, people came to the fore. I think investigation came to the fore and said that he was right. What else do you expect us to do?
So, in your opinion, there is absolutely nothing you can do better.
No. It is not us to do better. It is you to do better.
No,
it is media. We are just conduits. You don't expect us to go to this.
First of all, when you say you,
I speak for the media. I speak for the media fraternity.
I have accepted where I work as a legislator that there are things that we can do better.
No,
I expect you also to have an attitude of accepting that there are certain things you can do better. I have put to you questions, Debarl.
No.
You've spoken. Let me
just a moment. The issue is, and this is not a debate about me and you. I'm just a moderator here. You're the people to actually talk about this, because the thing is, we cannot be putting all this work. You say the splashes here, of course, they're very glossy, but we are not doing enough, and yet we actually put out enough evidence for you to follow through. But it seems the government machinery is failing us. So how can we have a full orbit to fight corruption in this country if there is a weak point or a weak chain in the link? I don't know. I don't know. He's still smiling. You tell us.
Let me say something, Debarl. It seems like we are at a dead end. But Senator from Keriuki, you must always talk as if you know your job, even when you don't know. You know, Bonnie and I, Bonnie has referred us to the Kimunya scenario. And he has also advised both of you, because the Senate is on, to move a motion this afternoon. Nothing stops you.
nothing stops you.
That is your work. This is what separates you from me. Go to the floor of the Senate today and demand action. You cannot be here as a senator and tell us how toothless the DPP is, no, you do your work and do a report. Let Opio and I also do a report. This is public funds. But let me tell you this. As you want to criticize Nation Media House or Media Group, at what point do you seek help from them, and at what point do you support when they are raided? When the journalists are being arrested here,
Yes.
at what point, how brave do you want them to be, and how will you protect them from the repugnant measures by the government against the media? The media is doing a very good job. We have just gone through a period in the recent past when somebody came here and they didn't even have to come here. They used technology to switch them off air. We couldn't even come here. We couldn't even come here. So you cannot use the actions of the media to your convenience only when you think they should be doing it differently. The media is doing a good job, and I really think if they were not there, we'd be having a lot of problems. Look at the headline story. It is, they have exposed theft of 9 billion shillings. You parliamentarians, go to parliament today, work until midnight, 11:59, take somebody home. You can't even say the president is not doing anything, because parliament is not doing its work. President is not a policeman. But convict, let's see if he will protect them. This is 9 billion shillings. This is not change on the streets. This is wanton theft of public funds.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. Omatangi, let's close it up on that. Not with your comment.
Yes, Debarl, just 2 comments. First, let me acknowledge that the whole world over, not only in Kenya, the world over, in every democracy, where there is freedom of media and the press, the media is one of the main instruments that is useful and used by governments and communities and societies to highlight and fight corruption. And on that particular issue, I think it is fair to say that the Kenyan media has done very well, but you can do better. Because sometimes I remember, like,
They say they've done the best.
like when we had the Golden Bug scandal, the Anglo leasing, and all those other issues. If the media wasn't there to highlight it, to bring it out, definitely would never have been where we are as a country. And so, you ought to be commended for the work that you have done in the fight against corruption in this country.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, but do more. Do even better. I mean, expand it, take it to places, and I believe we'll be a better country. Secondly, let's all agree and admit, the fight against corruption, Debarl, is not an event. There is no one day when you will say that we fought corruption yesterday and we won the battle. It is a process. It's ongoing. It's like it's a self-discipline model. Comparative to what you do as an individual. There's no one time you say, now I've become such a good man that I can now drop the discipline of the things that I do, because it is already there and I start doing other things. You have to live by it. It's a credo, it's a way of life. And so the fight against corruption has got to continue all the time. We have to adapt the culture, the mindset, the way of doing things, such that once that is ingrained in our society, in our norms, in our culture, in the way that we even process our processes everywhere, it has got to be felt from people's minds. And let me say this very briefly, Debarl. If you look at most of the countries that have succeeded in the fight against corruption, it starts with the individual. No, not with the government. It is not actually with people. One day I went to London, and as I was landing in that country, this was the time when there was a very big terror threat, and people were wondering after the incident that was there in London, what was going to be happening. Then, as I sat in a hotel, I was just conversing with somebody, and the waiter came close to me. And when he was close to me, he was trying to see what we are doing, what we are saying, and then I came to realize later that even at the level of a waiter when in the hotel, it is such a concern to that person as a national of that country to know whether you mean well for their country. And if they see that you don't, they will for sure report very quickly, and you will not know what hit you. You'll be picked from where you are in your hotel, where you're having your tea or your coffee. And that's patriotism. It is being true to country and true to self. So as this motto of the NYS go, because that's what they say, that they're true to country and true to self, we have to tell them right from the bottom that if they want this country to be what it is and profess what they have said in their credo, then they have to make sure that they live by it. And so every individual, Debarl, and this is the gospel that we have to preach to Kenyans. Let's not wait for EACC. Let us not keep on saying that we are waiting for Archbishop there to come and fight corruption. Let's not say that we are waiting for Uhuru to finish corruption in this country. It is all of us. It is we. Tomorrow, Debarl, once you get out here, if you found, for example, and let me finalize by giving this example. Remember the days of the late John Michuki. And when we had a big problem with the culture of matatus and other terrible road users, and he decided that we can have a change and a stop to it. And it became an acceptable norm. And we were all enjoying Bonnie. There was a time I used to go to Dandora in a matatu number 36. Yeah. My friend, you get into that matatu by the time I was alighting at a place called Dandora Cinema. By the time you alight there, man, you are worse than a sandwich. You have been you have been squeezed, you have been looted, you have been all manner of things, my friend. Now, but after Michuki came in, I know you don't know that I've trodden the hard road. That's why I see you are looking at me. I've lived even in Dandora, my friend. Yeah. Yes. So I know the life life it is down there. Now let me tell you, Bonnie and Debarl, as I finalize, it is the culture. When Michuki came, we would sit in those matatus and you stretch your legs. After he said no, that this cannot continue, and life continued, and the country is a better country.
I think, my brother, if you allow me to just take 2 of your minutes.
Yes,
I think the debate this morning should be our condemning the inactivity by those responsible to take action on this unacceptable loss of 9 billion shillings. And because you, our senators and members of the National Assembly, are squarely under the microscope, let us accept that you have failed to come here and blame the media. You are losing out on something which we would like you to promote, i.e. partnership. Your role with the media should complement, and you'll be amazed if the media starts now from tomorrow reporting on what you are doing. Even these people will resign from office. Let me give you one example of the power of partnership between the media and parliament. In 1976, at the height of apartheid in South Africa, a man called Zam Nzima from the media took a photograph of 3 little children. One called Hector, he had been shot by the police, and another one called Mahubo, he was carrying Hector, and Hector's kid sister was screaming and running alongside them. She was called Antoinette Sidole. That photograph, when it came up from the media, and then it came on the floor of the House in South Africa, It hit the whole of the international community, and the world then opened up and said, apartheid is not acceptable. If you guys can partner with the media and do this to corruption, these funny little people, the little thieves you're seeing, they'll just fall by the way, and
Thank you.
the country will move forward.
I'm glad
Thank
I'm
you.
glad Bonnie has finally made the point that I've been trying to make.
Thank
It
you.
was a simple point of saying we could
Thank
all
you.
do better.
All right, thank you.
Simple.
Fine,
Thank you.
I agree
Right.
with you.